Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Moniz, I'd like to follow up a little bit on what Senator Blumenthal was asking you about with regards to the breakout time. What are some of the main factors that you consider when you calculate that breakout time?
Well, the key factors are the enrichment capacity and the stockpile of enriched uranium, but there are many other factors as well which come in, such as the rate at which additional capacity could be built in during a breakout time. So all of this comes in to our national laboratory evaluation.
That would include the number of centrifuges as well, is that correct?
Correct.
After 15 years of this agreement, what limits do you think will be in place on those things that you just mentioned?
Well, after 15 years, they will probably expand their capacity after those restraints, and that's why such a key element are the verification measures that we put in place for all time, basically.
So we're talking about tracking the nuclear material to make sure it's not diverted from a civilian program, correct?
And that's 25 years, right?
Correct. We are basically just checking Iran's math, correct?
Checking the math. Well, no, we're checking our math, if you like. So the idea is to follow.
We're checking our math.
Right, and for 20 years we follow all the manufacturing. So it's the supply chain that we follow. And our intelligence people will tell you that to actually reproduce the entire supply chain covertly, probably in multiple places, would be very, very difficult to conceal.
And we're just looking at, of course, the declared facilities. Is that correct?
No, we have, of course, strong measures in the declared facilities, but key is the undeclared facilities, which by definition ultimately rests on the actions of our and our allies and friends' intelligence capacity.
And do you believe, well, do you have confidence in that capacity that we will be able to locate any undeclared facilities and pressure Iran to allow us to make sure that we have verification in those as well?
Well, again, I would go back to the statements of General Clapper and Cardillo and Cohen. Again, Clapper said specifically that this will give us much greater insight into what they're doing. That then leads us and other intelligence agencies that we work with to point the IAEA in the right place. And now we have a unique new tool of a finite time to get access to that place, or they are in material breach.
Are you concerned at all on what I view as the discrepancies between statements made by our administration and compare those to what is statements being made by the advisor to the Supreme Leader when it comes to access to allowing the IAEA to look at the military centers in Iran where I believe I've heard our administration say that we do have access to those. They are declared facilities, but yet the advisor to the Supreme Leader says the access of inspectors from the IAEA or from any other body to Iran's military centers is forbidden. Who's correct on that?
Well, I think we are correct. First of all, I just might point out that there were many statements made before Lausanne, before Vienna, that
this one was made July 21st.
Yes, but I'm saying there were many statements made before then, and you can check those statements against the agreement. They don't square up all the time, shall we say?
How are you going to reconcile that?
Those statements were very clear. First of all, the aim is not to go to military sites. And by the way, it's not us, it's IAEA, of course. The aim is to go to where there is suspicious or suspicion of nuclear relevant activities. If they are on a military site, doesn't matter. There is still the IAEA access to those sites.
I only have a few seconds left, but I would hope that you would reconcile those statements for the public.
We cannot control their statements.
You've stated that the 24-day waiting period for international inspectors won't allow the regime to conceal any illegal activity. But as I read the agreement, and many other people have pointed out, the inspector's request to visit those sites could be delayed much longer than 24 days. I know that you're not concerned about the 24-day period. You believe that, that we would, or the IAEA would be able to handle that. But if you look at different parts in Section Q of Annex 1 of the agreement, I think we have the potential that we're looking at an 89-day delay. Do you think that would be possible, and how confident are you about us being able to inspect
we certainly
that?
do. We certainly cannot allow for that. I might say I did not say any illegal activity. I focused specifically or especially on activity with nuclear material as my real focus. Number one. Number two is the IAEA has, at any sign of lack of cooperation, they have to launch the process with their request for access. Then comes the 24 days. As I've mentioned also, there is in the unclassified literature an example in Iran of a 6-month delay, an attempt to conceal, which did not work. They were caught red-handed.
You said you wouldn't allow the 89-day. You just couldn't allow that. Would you? How many days after 24 days would you allow?
No, it's not after 24 days. It's that the process to launch the formal request for access from IAEA has got to be prompt. That launches the 24-day clock, and that's the end.
You would not allow anything past that?
I would not.
Thank you.